Okay, let's talk about some of the myths being perpetuated right now. Now, what you see with the internet and things like the spotlight effect and cognitive bias is we latch on to something that's in front of us and we think it's more prevalent than it is. It's the same concept where if you buy like a red, let's say, VW Beetle, then you start going out driving around and you'll see it seems like everybody has a red VW Beetle. We tend to see what we focus on. We tend to see what's right in front of us. We see more of it. And then we become blind to the other things and we become blind to the objective data and the reality. That's very dangerous for a lot of reasons. I'm sure you can guess. Today, with a lot of these false narratives that are perpetuated by the media and accented and then further promulgated by people protesting and just the irrationality of it, the fact that a lot of these people can't have objective conversations, and it's not all protesters and a lot of people want change and whatever, and this just has nothing to really do with change or the fact that things need to change. This is about perpetuating myths and making so that people are more stuck in the muck and they're not going to rise up out of it. And I'm going to give you my solution today and hopefully bring awareness to this idea that it doesn't exist. There's no mystical money thing or system that's out to oppress people, minorities, right? Asians make more than average. They actually make more than white people. Jews make a lot of money and in this society are considered well off. So you don't really hear about Jewish movements or anything like that. And I don't want to go into all that specific stuff. There's a lot of variables relating to all of it. But this idea that minorities are being oppressed and that there's like systemic racism inside all these institutions, at least from an opportunity perspective. Let's just ignore the police thing for now because that's its own rabbit hole to go down. But from an opportunity perspective, me as an entrepreneur, and we live in this capitalistic society that we can literally rise ourselves up from our bootstraps, do anything. I didn't come from money. And I've been able to build a life for myself and find work that matters to me. And I've been sued. I've been arrested. I mean, I've had everything thrown at me possible to basically keep me held down. And that is probably the case for every entrepreneur. Any entrepreneur that I've talked to, anybody that's built anything, the world pushes you back. It tries to hold you down. It's like the price you have to pay. It's like the gatekeeper. It's like you want success, you got to pay the price. And the price is the pain, the stress, the trauma, the turmoil. I've had nightmares about things that I've had to deal with in business. Because the fear that it would happen again. You know, I've been doing this thing for 10 years. I'm still not even to like step 2 of where I want to be, but I've been able to have relative security in my life. But enough about me. The point is, 30, 40 years ago, when you had to like get a job at a corporation, you had to go to college, and you know, there was a lot more things in place that made it way harder. I will give the argument that. But today, which is very ironic because we live in the freest, most abundant, safest, just most really amazing time in human history. Yet you see a lot of the narrative trying to perpetuate this idea that it's way worse than it is. And that's what I call BS on. I don't like those false narratives using data, shining spotlight on them, and then making it seem like it's more prevalent than it is. You want to be on camera? Are you hungry? Are you thirsty? You're hungry? Let's go see what we can find. So that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in helping people see through some of the narrative that is holding them back. This is just purely a human thing. If you are going to focus on what's in front of you, if you are going to focus on the fact that the world's unfair, that there's a lot of problems, that there are people that are racist and whatever, and if you make that the forefront of your focus, you will get more of what you focus on. Humans only reach targets they aim at. I actually heard that quote somewhere. I don't know where it was from, but it's a really good one. Humans only reach targets they aim at. What you're aiming at is what you're directing your focus at. If you want to rise up from that, if you want to make your life better, and then through making your life better, you can help other people make their lives better, and then on and on and on, that's how you'll get change. And then when you make, let's say, more money, resources, you have a bigger audience, whatever it is, you can help more people and you can spread more awareness around ideas and you can actually solve problems. Yelling in the streets, blaming people, projecting, making it about color, these things like that, these don't make change. They don't. In fact, some would argue that they create more divisiveness and more divide and more of the just nonsense that you see in politics of this side versus that side. That's not what's going to solve any of these things. You start with yourself. You take ownership of your life. And I'm going to give you literally how you can do that because it's available. Okay. So this thing right here, right? This is the most powerful tool for good or evil that you're ever going to see in your lifetime. More so than any nuke or AK-47 or assault rifle or anything like that. This thing has the power to build and create and bring together humanity and has the power to destroy it. And if you look at what's going on in the political landscape right now, this is what's destroying our culture today. For you though, if you want to level up, I'm going to give you some tools and some ways to think about this. You can go to Harvard, Stanford, I believe Georgetown, maybe even Oxford, and you can take entire classes online for free that people are spending $10, $20, $40, $50,000 to take. They literally have the curriculum that the students are paying for free that you can take online. That's one thing. You can go to YouTube. You can learn a skill like video editing. I'm recording this video right now. My bottleneck right now is editing. I'm actually about to hire an editor. This is a skill as video becomes more prevalent, which it is, more businesses and personal brands and social medias and influencers are going to need the skill of video editing. You could find more clients than you could possibly fathom if you got good at video editing. And guess what? You can go to YouTube and you can find people that edit Hollywood movies offering free tutorials, free classes on how to do exactly what they do. You see where I'm going with this? You can learn any language for free. You can learn anything about anything for free. You can develop real skills and go to someone like me, an entrepreneur or a business owner, and say, whether or not you have an open position, I want to work for your company. I like what you're doing, whatever. I want to learn from you, whatever. I'll work for free for a month. If you find some value, you want to pay me, that's great. I will take people up on that. I have taken people up on that in the past. I mentored Armando when he was 16, brought him in, traveled with me. He learned a bunch about entrepreneurship and business, whatever. Went to Vegas with me, became a friend basically. And it was awesome. He's Puerto Rican, middle class. He took it upon himself to reach out to me and said, I love what you're doing in the gym. I love your content, whatever. I'd love to learn from you. Can I just come by and like hang out? I said, yeah, man, sure. Show up Monday at 3 p.m. That was basically the test. If he didn't show up, whatever. He shows up, cool. I said, yeah, man, you want to work out, hang out at the gym? I had a CrossFit gym at the time. He's like, yeah, sure. I ended up giving him a job there part-time. Then he started working for me directly in some of my content stuff and some of my, like, basically a personal assistant. And then we just started hanging out and we'd go on trips together and he'd like kind of help with here and there with editing and writing and things like that. And it's like, all he did was put himself out there and he showed up, had a good attitude, willing to learn. And he got all these crazy things that today, if someone tried to do that, I would have to charge them basically. It's like, that's just one example. But you take those skills that you learned and you go to an entrepreneur or business or company or whatever, and you say, this is my skill. I will do X pieces of work for free, or I'm building my portfolio. So can I like do your website, or can I do a photography session and I'll give you all the photos for free or whatever. And then you do that, you build your portfolio, then you start charging, then you get better and you raise your prices, and then on, and then you're set for life because you have a skill, you can monetize it, and you don't have to work for anybody, you work for yourself. You have that autonomy that comes from that, and you're set for life. You're set for life because you figured out the equation that is not hidden that people just don't seem to figure out. Get good at something, offer that service, charge for it, you're set for life. This idea that there's something preventing you from that because of the color of your skin is a lie. It is a lie. Okay, that's the first thing. Second, in that hypothetical example, if you were to come to me and said, I'm working on my video editing, I've gotten this good, I've done a bunch of videos on my own, and now I'm willing to take on some bigger projects. If you came to me with that and said, I want to edit 10 videos for you, then use them for my portfolio. I would say absolutely. But here's the thing. This is what you'll see with a lot of business owners that are very fair, honest people. A lot of entrepreneurs are. You will see that they will pay you even when you don't ask for it. Because if you came to me and did that and edited 10 videos, there's no way that I'm not going to give you some money for that. There's no way. Like, it just goes against my constitution. You'll end up coming in for free. You'll get me to say yes. You'll do the work. I'll get something that's valuable to me. And then you'll be fine with the portfolio and the experience, right? Because then I can maybe refer you to others, or maybe I can hire you on the spot for future projects. But I'll end up giving you money for what you already did, because that's the way the world should work. That's fair. That's just. It's also fair and just to do things for free sometimes. There's nothing wrong with that. But I would still end up giving you money. Do you see how you win there? Do you see how you win when you take responsibility and ownership of your life? Do you see the opportunity that's in front of you with millions of businesses that need help? Don't buy into the narrative that the world is out to get you, because if you do, if that becomes what you focus on, if that becomes your worldview, the world will be out to get you. I've almost quit multiple times on my journey, and I'm so glad I didn't. And I know that in the future, I'm probably going to deal with that as well. It doesn't really get easier, you just get better at dealing with it. And then it just becomes part of it. If you want change, you have to change your own life first. You have to take responsibility, ownership, and rise yourself up of whatever muck you're stuck in. If you're stuck in muck, if you're in a bad situation, if the people around you are holding you back, if your family's holding you back, if your neighborhood's holding you back, then go somewhere else. Or at the very least, take this Library of Alexandria in your freaking pocket and spend your time productively developing your knowledge and your skills, because no human can be manipulated and controlled when they're educated, self-aware, and they take ownership of their life. They take personal responsibility. Educate yourself with this thing rather than letting it manipulate you, rather than buying into the propaganda machine, rather than letting the political leaders and the corporate slave masters, rather than letting them control you and manipulate you into what to see, think, feel, and vote. Instead of doing that, focus on yourself, make yourself better, share that, lead by example, bring others along for the ride, rise up out of the muck, and then start pointing at the fact that there's the muck and saying, hey guys, that's the muck. Yes, the muck is there. But for as long as we keep pointing at it, yelling at it, and kicking it, we're not going to rise out of it. Over there, that's a step to get out of the muck. You just have to step it, right? You have to take it upon yourself to step it. Nobody's going to make you step out of the muck. In fact, a lot of people are trying to keep you in the muck. They want you in the muck. They want you to fight each other. They want you to be scared and confused and not take responsibility and not self-educate. This is the greatest tool or the greatest weapon for destruction you've ever seen. It's up to you. Nobody else. And right now in 2020, the way it stands, and whether or not this is going to be the case in the next 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, I don't know what's going to happen. But right now, anybody can rise themselves up out of the muck and build the life they want, any life they want. And then with those skills, if you don't like it in the United States, go somewhere else. You could literally work for US companies anywhere in the world when you develop a lot of these skills. Or you can work for foreign companies, go somewhere else. South America, Europe, Asia, whatever. Be a digital nomad. Don't stay in any one place for too long. Use the internet and the tools and the connectedness to be your security. Use your skills and your knowledge to be your security, rather than trying to get other people to do things for you because you think the world is unfair or unjust, because it is, and it's always going to be. It can get better, but it doesn't get better until more individuals take responsibility for themselves and then lead by example. That is how things get better. I'm rooting for you. I'm pro-humanity. I'm pro-United States. Very wary of all of it, though, because there's a lot of bad trends right now, and there's a lot of things going on, and there's a lot of name calling and finger pointing and shame nonsense, and it's not moving us forward. So hopefully something like this, awareness of this, just a reminder of what you can do with this, good and bad.